Hello, Aquarius, Aquarius ascendant, Aquarius rising. How are you doing? I'm happy to be here with you, and I hope that you're glad to be here with me, All Astrology with G. We're going to take an energetic walk together through all the wonderful beauty of who you are. I love Aquarian energy. Astrology is Aquarian energy. Aquarian energy is the scientist, the inventor, the thinker, the person who takes conventional ways of thinking and says, you know what? We've already been there. We've already done that. Let's try something different. Let's try something that is more progressive. Let's try something alternative that is just inventive, something nobody else has thought of. Aquarian ascendant, Aquarian rising, right? That means that when you were born, the time of day that you were born, the Aquarian energy was on your rising sign, which is on the eastern side of your chart. This isn't about an astrology lesson, although I do tend to do that. It just happens, it just comes out that way. Because honestly, this is the power, this knowledge, and there's no point in it being powerful, being in one person's hands. The sign of Aquarian, the Aquarius energy, the age of Aquarius, the time when man will get the power back into his hands. And it's not just the power. Think about the symbol for the Aquarian. It shows you like those waves, right? And if you were to look up what those waves mean, like astrologically, the symbol is the water pourer. It's like this human being or this being of some sort holding like a vessel. And in that vessel, he's pouring out this water, right? That's the symbol, the old school symbol for the sign of Aquarius. However, that water was representing knowledge. And so it was when man was ready to receive the knowledge would be there for man. Well, I have Aquarian energy up there in my 10th house. And so every time I start talking, every time I start honing in and doing this, it just kind of comes out that way where I feel as though I have to make sure that whatever is in me, whatever's coming through me, whatever I understand, it's not mine to hold on to. It is yours. It is your knowledge. It is your power. So all of this is my way of explaining this whole Aquarian energy, and the frequencies of Aquarian is very unique, very individual. Okay. It does represent group energy, which is what I started saying, that for me, I always feel like it is my duty. It is my responsibility because it's in my 10th house. And whatever sign is up there in your 10th house, yes, it is your responsibility, right? It is that placement where it's where you express your best. It's where you shine. It's where others look at you and they're just like, so it's that whole thing. Wow, look at that person. Listen to what they're saying. They somehow can get your attention. They somehow speak in a way where they are very authoritative, like they know what they're talking about. And that's your 10th house. But Aquarian energy is the 11th house. It is group people, okay? It is friendships. It is all of those who are like-minded, but not just simply my friends, but we're friends. We're friends because we're bonded in a way where we have a common goal, okay? But it's more than just a common goal. It's a common goal in the sense where it will somehow do good. It's the house of the humanitarian. That's what the 11th house is. That's what Aquarian energy is, which is why it's inventive, it's outside the box, it's that Tesla energy, but it's anybody who's created something that has helped humanity advance. That is what Aquarian energy is. And so it's some sort of inventive, some unique thing that you do, which you don't keep for yourself. You're taking this knowledge, this information, these downloads, the data that comes through to you, and you create something that everybody gets to benefit from, everybody gets to use. It is all about knowledge. It is about information, but it's like that out there stuff. It's like, how did you ever think of that? And it's like, nobody thinks of it. They get information bits and pieces, or sometimes it just comes flooding in. It's universal wisdom. It's information from the cosmos coming through, right? It's like the mind of God. It's amazing. So amazing. We can't even It's beyond who we are, beyond our material realm. It is beyond our physical limitations. And this is the beauty of who we are as human beings. Yes, we have these physical bodies, but there is a very deep part of us where there is so much more to us than the physical. There is so much more to us than what we see. There is so much more to us than what we can hold onto. Sensations, there's knowings, there's understandings, and then there's that soular energy, SOULULAR. There is that cellular power that we each have within us. We are divine beings living in these physical vehicles, these limited bodies. We are not trapped within them. We have come to understand by our experiencing and our relating, even though we may have physical limitations, there are things that we end up being able to see, taste, do, we never thought possible. It was beyond our understanding. And that is Aquarian energy. It is this outside of the box. It is this download. The neutrinos, they come in, right? Neutrinos are those beams that we get from the sun rays. Information embedded in those, okay? And when that information comes in, we get it and we're just like, okay, where the hell did that come from? Well, yeah, these things do come from somewhere. You know, we like to think that it's all just by chance, that it's all good luck. You have got an event that occurred in your life. You tell me when it happened, the date, the time. I'll look it up on my end and I'll be like, okay, this was doing this was doing this. Yeah, that makes sense. It takes kind of the magic away because you see it on paper and you're like, oh, wow. And I'm talking about that which is astrology, that which is the planetary alignments, because this is all Aquarian energy, scientists' perspective. And that is how astrology began. It began eons ago when man had, you know, when their TV, right, when their entertainment, they didn't have that square box to plug in and to watch. They would go outside. Their light at night was outside, was watching the stars, was watching the moons, right? Was watching all of those and understanding that when something was at a certain position in the sky, they saw the effects of it in their physical world here on this planet. And that is the beauty of it. It is a study. It is a science of energies. Let's talk about September for you, okay? But we're also going to talk about October for you because you had to wait. And I don't like anybody feeling as though they were left out. But no soul is left untouched. This whole ministry, this whole purpose is to touch in with all those who come seeking. Nobody is left out. There's the understanding of who you are energetically. There's the touching in from soul to soul, from heart to heart, combining our energies, even if it's just but for a moment here when you visit me and Allastrology, when you come to the channel. This is a place where you're understood. This is a place where it's not about, oh, I know all this about you. No, it's simply an understanding and a feeling of acceptance, wholeness, of unity. It is a feeling of love, of purpose. It is a feeling and an understanding and a oneness. And anytime we talk about anything being in fixed, Aquarians need to perk up their ears because there is a fixed cross in astrology. And here's me and my handy dandy. So there are 4 signs on the fixed cross. This is Taurus and Scorpio, and then we have Aquarian energy and we have Leo energy. They are all fixed. Aquarian energy is fixed air. Now, this is important to know because air is the way you think. It's the way you talk. It's information. It's knowledge. That is what air is. We have fixed earth, we have fixed water, and we have fixed fire. Fixed fire is Leo, fixed earth is Taurus, fixed water is Scorpio, and fixed air is Aquarian energy. Those 4 fixed signs create the fixed cross in astrology. This helps because you don't need to know a whole bunch of astrology if you just know that, because if you're an Aquarius, whether it's a sun sign or a moon sign or it's your rising sign, or if you've got all 3, if you're a triple Aquarian, if you're a triple fixed, oh boy, knowing that when something gets into Scorpio, when something gets into Taurus, it's immediately ascending a 90-degree angle from either the Taurus energy or a 90-degree angle from the Scorpio energy. Either way, it's a 90-degree square, okay? That's what 90-degree does. It sets up a square and it's tough. It's difficult. It means you're going to be tested. It means it's going to be frustrating. It's going to be being told no, stalls, delays. You got to do more work. So the sign of Uranus, who is your ruler, by the way, has been in the sign of Taurus for about 2 years now. And so since we're talking about Aquarian energy, understanding we've got Aquarius squaring Aquarius in essence, Taurus energy has Aquarius at 10 degrees there, okay? So depending upon where your sun sign is at in Aquarian energy, you could be feeling a big stress. And Aquarian energy is surprises and shocks because it does represent electricity, lightning bolts, literally. That's why it's all about our devices, especially our devices that we have now. Anything that you've got to plug in that uses electricity, it is an Aquarian invention. We've got our phones, we've got the internet, we've got desktops, we've got iPads, we've got all that stuff. But we have so many other things now that we have in our life, things in the kitchen, right? That would be a big thing for Taurus energy. Something that we plug in and that we use, right? All of a sudden we're hearing these air fryers that are the big next greatest thing. All these little inventions, which aren't very little, right? Because they're all about making life easier. It's a progression in some way, shape, or form, right? We used to have to bring wood in and do all sorts of crazy things to get a fire going, right? And to create heat. Now all you got to do is turn on a burner or press a button, you've got heat. These are all inventions, which is all Aquarius energy, which is beautiful. So that gives you an understanding of the sign of Aquarius and why it's very unique, but at the same time, it's shared within group energy, advancements for humanity. So there's the macro of that energy, which would be people in general, right? The public. But there's also the micro of that energy, which would be your friends in your life, like people you actually know, people you meet, you go out, you have a good time with. Well, maybe not so much right now, right? We're in 2020, and this is the year of the pandemic. But we are also finding ways to touch in with those people, right? We have Skype, we've got Zoom, we've got social media platform, internet, we're on the YouTube. Like there's lots of ways to connect with people that nobody had any clue we could do before, especially during a pandemic. So looking at your chart and looking at the month of September and getting a little bit better of a taste of Aquarian energy and what that's all about, having Uranus and Taurus squaring your sun or squaring your rising sign has a lot to do. Like if it's a squaring your rising sign, you're going to know that this is your rising sign because your rising sign is going to have a lot to do with where your physical body is. Therefore, you may have changed within the last 2 years or will be changing soon where you live. You could also be changing where you work. You could also be changing your job. So if you're feeling these changes occurring, and these would be changes that would be surprising, right? These would be things that kind of came out of nowhere or suddenly. Remember, it's that expect the unexpected energy. Feeling a square, right? Tension and stress and testing with your money because Uranus is in Taurus energy. So when I look up your Taurus energy, this is your home. You've got Uranus in your home. This is where you have Taurus energy, which is your fixed earth. So Uranus at home, squaring your ascendant, squaring where you live, has made life difficult. Could also make the career difficult, right? Making changes in the career. But there's good news coming. And we're going to get to that. We've got good news coming. I'm very happy because there's going to be a new moon toward the latter part of September. And it's all about earth energies. It's all about tangible world. It is all about my assets. It's all about my job. Money. Oh, my heart. But Aquarius energy, you've got Taurus. You've got Uranus in your fourth house of money, of surprises, of shocks. So things at home. Remember, your fourth house also represents your emotional world. Your emotional world, like your feelings and all that, is very stable because you have Taurus energy. Taurus energy is peaceful. It's calm, right? I don't want any fights. I can just chill. I'm okay kind of being alone, being quiet. I'm okay. As long as I'm comfortable, I've got food, I've got a nice place to stay, I'm comfortable, right? And so at home, very calm, very beautiful, like, art and beauty, fine art, because this is a Venus-ruled place. Venus is all about the finer things in life, and that means taste, touch, smells, things you can see. Think of the five senses, the good stuff with the five senses, like nice smells, nice food, high quality, like textiles, fashion, clothing, beauty, hair, makeup, perfume, anything with Taurus energy, anything that's ruled by Venus. This is also very earthy. And earthy meaning you may enjoy being outside. You may enjoy, spending time with the earth. Food, definitely, and agriculture, gardening, right? Things like that. And even if you're not a gardener using the hands, definitely enjoy the fruits of the labors, right? Definitely enjoying the harvesting and the eating. So this is in the fourth house. Food in the fourth house would be a big deal. You may cook a lot in the home. You may prefer to cook in the home as opposed to going out and getting food. But having Uranus there, it's been shaking things up. Because Uranus is Big Ben alarm clock that goes off while you're sleeping that you did not set the night before. Somebody else did. And all of a sudden it just went off and you was like, or it's the fire alarm that goes off in the middle of the night. That's Uranus in the home. It's expect the unexpected. It will be in your fourth house. It will be in your fourth house for about 5 more years. So this is not a quick thing at all. Knowing this will help you to be, what Uranus wants is for you to learn how to be flexible. That's what Uranus wants, because Taurus energy is fixed, right? And fixed means things become crystallized over a long period of time, right? Because we've been doing the same old, same old. Do you ever find that you end up eating like through a rotation of the same thing? Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. You might even have a pizza day. You might even have a Mexican food day, right? Like you may have certain things you eat on certain days of the week because it's good food, but it makes it easy. Remember, Taurian energy likes things to be simple, simplifies, keep it simple, right? Make it make sense, as Miss K says. Make it make sense. That Uranus doesn't come through there to just mess with you, just for the sake of messing with you. No, what it wants to do is it wants to get you to step out of your comfort zone. That's what it wants you to do. And being in the fourth house, this is difficult, right? Because it's Taurus in the fourth. And so this means it messes with your emotions. So the fourth house is your physical home, where you live, but it's also your emotional home. It's what you're thinking, it's what you're feeling, it's the emotions, it's your heart space, it's all of that wrapped up in one. It's those emotional waters being stirred up and getting boiled at sometimes, and being stirred up in a way where it makes things uncomfortable and you're not going to be happy with it. Matter of fact, actually, you're going to get mad, because Taurus energy is very patient and can accept things, but at the same time, if it gets bothered, if you keep poking it, if you keep bothering it, it will charge. That's what the bull is known for doing. It has patience because it wants peace. So it tends to be like, okay, I'll compromise for that, right? Because Venus rules it. And what is Venus also the ruler of? It's also the ruler of the Libran energy, which is things being fair and balanced and partnerships and relationships. So having relationships is going to be important, but at the same time, if you infuriate the bull, you get the horns. Well, here comes the Aquarian energy, okay? Because this would square physical, right? So this could have a lot to do with bothering who you are mentally, who you are physically, because the sign of Aquarius being electricity, well, what's electricity in the body? Think about this. Some of this is very logical. When we talk about electricity and the understanding of what it does when it goes through a device, when we talk about the human body, what would you consider to be electrical? Do you have an answer? Comment below. So the sign of Aquarius is nerves. Having this squaring your nerves, right? They frazzled my nerves. You hear the blue jay? You hear the blue jay? You gotta love that. I love when the jay talks. I love the blue jay because the blue jay, think about the colors on the jay. They have black, they have white, and they have blue. The colors, the black is the hidden, it's the unknown, it's the below the surface. But in reality, it's everything, okay? The white is between those two colors. The white, it's black, it's white, and then it's blue. The blue is like this spiritual realm. It's this, I'm not in the material realm, but I'm in the spiritual realm. The white is the purity that goes in between those two, okay? So the black is everything. So it includes the material realm as well, but it can be things that are below the surface and in the hidden. The beauty is it's a combination of all those. The jay is known as the shaman. The jay can walk between both realms. This kind of work and what we're talking about is just that. We're talking about astrology. We're talking about the understanding of the energies, of the frequencies, of your capabilities, of who you are at your most basic, fundamental, elemental level. And this is Aquarius. Aquarius is air, it is fixed air, it is fixed thinking, but it is that fixed thinking that is intelligent, that is outside of the box, that is all about advancements for humanity, which is the scientific mind, the ability to sit back, to observe, to track, to calculate, to write the findings down, to be the watcher. And this high level of intellect, meaning you can take all the information, all the knowledge that you've gathered in, and you can put it all down and look at it, and it's like you come to a conclusion. And this is where it gets tricky for Aquarians. Because they're super smart, because there's this high ease in abstract ideas, very good with abstract things, the ability to connect and to create and to connect both sides, the left and the right, the abstract to the tangible, right? The material, the non-material, the material, the spiritual, the physical, the non-material. Taking the left and the right, the up and the down, right? Taking the below the surface and, oh, we can see this on the surface, and taking the collective of all that information in and realizing through all that time that you are observing and you come up with this conclusion, it has to be right. Therefore, because of the work that you've put in the time, there is an ease of fixed thinking. There is an ease because but I already did the homework on that. I know that this is true. I know that this is right. So it's the ability to realize that we are always expanding our knowledge. We are always expanding our awareness. Our growth is never ending. The minute we stop growing is the day that we die. Embracing that, wrapping your mind around that, allowing that to marinate in the brain, and being willing to know somebody knows more. Being willing to know I can always learn more. Being willing to being open to, I can always grow some more. This is the way we expand that consciousness, and being willing to open to new knowledge that comes through. That is Aquarian energy. It is always seeking, always searching, always wanting to keep going and to keep tapping into that which it knows not, but yet it knows. That silent voice, that voice of the unmoved mover, it's tapping into that higher frequency, that higher vibrational energy brings information. And that's how all the inventors, that's how they got the knowledge they got. That's how they were able to do it. You know, you spend so much time doing one thing, it becomes meditative. And all of a sudden the mind becomes so focused that it literally quiets the rest of the mind, the rest of the brain. And in all that quietness, information comes through. And sometimes we can literally hear. And when we literally hear, we think that there's this, we can almost say, hey, that voice, it was a man's voice, or it was a woman's voice, or it was a child's voice. And so we can tap into, sometimes it's music and it's sounds of the spheres, energetic emanations from the planetary energies. That's all it is. And so for Aquarian energy and all this abstract talking and thinking and relating, we're going to bring this back down to earth. We're going to bring this back down to your money. All comes into your fourth house of home, of feelings and emotions, nurturing and empathy and understanding. The fourth house is also mom energy. My ability to be a mom, your ability to be a mom, my thinking about being a mom, my thoughts about being a mom or not, and how my mom was or wasn't. So we talk about the fourth house, okay? This is also the tangible, the physical, the material, where you live, Then we also want to talk about the eighth house, because you have Earth in your eighth house, you have Virgo energy there. And the eighth house is all about our values, our money, our resources. Having Virgo energy there is a big deal, because the eighth house is typically bonded, deep relationships, people that you have connected with childhood, whether it's from, family history, like my grandparents, like that family lineage stuff, the heritage, or it's your past lives that you've connected with people. There is an energetic bond. It's an emotional bond. And what you find out having it in the Virgo frequencies there is Virgo energy is all about, we connect deeply with people who think a lot like we do. It's very logical. It's very rational. It can connect the dots. That's what Virgo energy is. It's the great dot connector. It says, look at that great idea. Well, I can see all the steps it takes to get to that great idea. That's Virgo. And so when we talk about resources, our values, our tangible values, this being in that eighth house, I like that, because then it gives you the ability to see how you can merge with another and merge with their values, merging your values and their values together. But it's going to be very practical, very rational, very tangible. It has to make sense. My projects, it's my daily routines. It's, okay, I see you giving me this knowledge. What can I do with it? How can I use it? How can I take what you're saying makes sense? How can I apply it to my life? That is Virgo energy. Frank Lloyd Wright, that great architect, his homes were just gorgeous, but they were also about function. It had to have a purpose. It had to serve a function. You're going to give me this information, but if I can't do anything with it, then it's useless. Serving a purpose, the sign of the server, love to be able to have a purpose, loves to be able to serve, almost to the degree sometimes where there's an over-serving and an over-sacrificing that occurs. And this would happen in houses with people that you're deeply bonded with. Now, this new moon, being an earth, right? Earth is tangible, is material. Earth is money, okay? It's your assets. Earth is all about our values. Being in Virgo, it gives you the ability to logically understand what your work is and how you can make money with work, future work possibilities. Because without going into too much detail, we have a beautiful support system coming through from the planet Saturn. And Saturn is the CEO. Saturn is the guy, the woman, it is the boss. It is the one in charge. And we are having a conversation. We're speaking the same language. We're sitting down at the table. We each got coffee the way we like it, right? We are each are comfortable. We are each feeling as though we honestly are sitting down having a conversation because the person across the table really wants to hear what we have to say. And this is wonderful. This is a feeling of, this is my boss, and they want to know my thoughts. They want to know what my feedback is. They value my input. And so coming together, we all of a sudden have this camaraderie, this new path that can be blazed, right? We see how we can make this work. We see how we can become unified and how we can move forward. And this may be a clearing away of something that we no longer need anymore. This may be a clarity of understanding of, God, I put so much effort and time into this project, and all of a sudden there's this one project that really stands out now because maybe the boss has come through and said, hey, you've been doing a really good job on this. I want you to take the lead on this. When I look at your other earth energies of your boss energy getting a trine, there's somebody, something that you're not aware of. There is somebody that is a boss of a boss of a boss that is giving directions, that is laying down new rules, and somehow it's going to trail back to you. But it's the 12th house, which is the unknown. It's the hidden. It's somebody who is so far away from you. They're in another country, and you're not even aware of who they are. A lot of times this is people who we sometimes have past life dealings with, but it's a beneficial energy at this time. So this is all sending these beautiful, perfect trines to money energy, to work energy, to career energy. And so this is really exciting. It will set up your home, your Taurus energy in your home at light. It makes it easier. It makes it more comfortable. It somehow smooths those emotional and cools those emotional waters. It keeps them in a place where everything is okay and you feel financially stable, which then gives you your emotional stability. Your financial stability gives you your emotional stability. There are things that you can do with your finances that just feed you, right? It literally feeds you. Obviously, food, right, costs money, right? But all those things, the tangible, the material, they actually help you mentally. They help you emotionally. So that is going to be very important for you. But this is a nice time for you to hone in on what it is you want going forward in a job, what it is you want going forward, what you can realistically see in terms of your work projects, your health routines also. And your health routine has everything to do with your emotional body. And I'm saying this because your health and your health habits, your work and your work habits is not just about you. It's always about we. Somehow it's not just you. It's always about whenever you're interacting with somebody else. There's this we energy, but it's deeply bonded energies that I'm seeing, okay? So it's bonded work routines, bonded health routines. It's all connected and it all affects your emotional stability. This is some deep emotional stuff I'm talking about too, by the way. It's like really deep stuff. It's stuff that requires soul searching, okay? It's stuff that you feel bonds with others and you don't even really know why you have that connectivity that you do, but it's there. It's like past life stuff, or it's stuff, childhood. It's just stuff from a long time ago. And whether you will understand it or not, it just is. So this means you're going to have people at the job, right? People who are part of your daily routines that you connect with. So you think about this in your life, Aquarius. You think about this. Who is part of your daily work routines? Who is on your work projects? And it doesn't even have to be necessarily at work, but it could be, within your immediate environment, your domestic life, right? So this could be neighbors, this could be people in the home, anybody that surrounds you, that's part of your daily routines. This could even be, I go and I get my coffee every day of the, 5 days out of the week. I go to that special spot, get my coffee. It's strange because it's people you don't spend a whole lot of time with, yet you connect. You have those short moments where you have these moments of deep connectivity. And that is what this is for you. And so all of that kind of works out really nicely because it creates a beautiful, sweet trine. And when we have a beautiful, sweet trine, connecting our earth energies, connecting our money, it's a nice feeling and a nice thought, right? Because it's the new moon. And this is a time where we can say, okay, this is what I want going forward. Now, when I look to some of your other energies, there are some rough things going on. We've got Mars standing still. And so this is in your third house. Mars is in your third house and will be in your third house all the way until 2021. This means you're going to have assertive communication. You may be very impulsive by the way that you speak, and you typically were already impulsive by the way that you speak. But now with Mars there, with Mars not only there, Mars now going retrograde as of the 9th of September, meaning it's literally moving backwards. And all you need to know about that is that when it moves backwards, it is felt stronger. All of a sudden, your Martian energy is coming out and you are saying things that you might have held your tongue on before. What this is going to do, Aquarius, is it's going to test your ability to think before you speak. You can do a lot of growth with this. This can be a quantum elevation for you if you are able to pull in your ego. Okay, because Martian energy is our ego energy. If you are able to understand that it's the tool and to not allow it to control you, realizing that it's just a tool and there's a time when you need it to speak up, right? There's a time when you need it to be there and to be firm and to show up and to be assertive. There are times when that's needed. But there are also times when somebody else may just be talking, may just be sharing something, and it may just flippantly pop out. It may be a little brash. It may be too bold. It may be too assertive. It may get aggressive. And chances are there have been moments where you got caught in that situation, where you got caught in that predicament, where you spoke, where you said something that maybe you shouldn't have said. Maybe you shared something that you shouldn't have shared, because Mars is going to test you because it's stronger right now. It's saying, oh yeah, you think you got me under control. I just took a Red Bull and I'm stronger than I was before. I got my energy back. I am amped up. And so it's you being able to see that, all right? It's you being able to see your impulsivity. You're like, you look at something or you think you have this idea of doing something without thinking it through. You take action on your thoughts immediately. But what you're going to want to do, this is a time of perfecting that. You've got 5 months. This is a course. Think about this. This is a course, okay? This is a course you're taking in thinking. It's a course you're taking in speaking. It is a course that is going to test you on your ability to just stop, take maybe 24 or 48 hours to think about something before you speak back on it, okay? Let it sit with you for a while, sleep on it, and then go back and say something. So in other words, if somebody says something, this is a good time to say, I need a little bit of time to think about that. Because you really do, right? It's like they might not understand what you're doing, right? And they don't need to. It doesn't need to be everybody's business. But what you're really trying to do is you're trying to retrain your Martian energy. You are showing it that although you know it has the ability to just go on off and be on 10 real quick, or to come back with a really quick word, right? That might be a little too much. You are showing it that you can practice poise, that you can be the diplomat, right? Because that's really what we're training your Aryan energy to do, because your Mars is in your Aryan energy. This is in your third house of talking, thinking, speaking, relating, and communicating. We're trying to develop our Mars. We're trying to grow it up. And when we try to grow it up, it takes on the energy of the opposite sign. And the opposite sign of Aries is Libran energy. Aries is me. So in your third house of talking, thinking, speaking, relating, it's me. You're going to be very impulsive. You're going to instantly think about me. You're going to instantly take action that will benefit you first. That's what a very young Aryan energy in the third house does. And very quite often say things that you did not think first about. You just let them fire right off the tongue. right? Because remember, Mars was born for war. So if there's any time where you need the words to come out and to feel like daggers, you've got them with Mars in Aries in the 3rd house right now. But what you want to do is grow Mars up. And by growing Mars up, we force Mars to take on more of the diplomatic qualities, okay? Which is, I can understand what you're saying, and I can understand what you're saying. And after I've had time to consider both sides, here's what I have to say about that. Mars in Aries is how you think. Well, if you're going to make a wish, right? If you're going to be making wishes, it starts with how you think. Okay, so you see how this is connected. There will be this impulsivity to, oh, I want to make a wish on this, right? Oh, I'm going to make a wish on that. The moon, the new moon, is in your 8th house of it should make sense. This wish that you're going to be doing, that has to do with your career, that has to do with your work projects, that has to do with your income and your money, your financial security, your emotional stability. All this has to do with, it has to make sense because it's your energy in your 8th house. It is with others. It's partnerships. Okay, it's partnerships, people you feel really close to. Okay, it's understanding those connections and how you could actually have future work with people like that. You guys can make it work. I also read under my comments recently, someone said, instead of wishing upon a star, be the star from Sincere High. I loved it. I loved it. That's what this is. Reach for the star, but be the star, right? Don't do it in a way where it doesn't make any sense, because we are being shown right now that this dream that we've had in the past, we have been doing a lot of work. And because of the work we've been doing in 2020, because of the living outside of my comfort zone of 2020, we are realizing that we can do things we weren't doing before. And all of a sudden, we're able to think, we're able to see logically and rationally what are the skill sets we've acquired. Because this is that same energy. It's skills. It's developed new skills. Now, without explaining why all that is, I'm going to tell you where you're getting those new skills from. And this is in your 5th house. Okay, because the North Node is there right now, and it will be there for the next 16 months. The North Node in Gemini, you have Gemini energy in your 5th house, and that is my siblings, that is my work partners, that is networking, that is relating, dating, it's having fun with my body. This is that 5th house energy. This is people in my immediate environment and community, but this is social media, this is internet, right? Whatever you're doing. The 5th house is having a good time, something that is fun, something that's kind of risk-takey though, because it's 5th house, and that is the house of the risk taker, but you have joy. It's got to be something that gives you joy. Think about this. But there's a new skill that you acquired. And if you haven't acquired it yet, you will be, because the North Node is about 20, it's like 5 degrees into that house now. Okay, so being 5 degrees there, maybe you've met somebody. Okay, maybe you started dating, or maybe it's not even someone you're dating, but maybe it's someone you kind of flirt around with, but you're learning something. You are learning new ways of relating, okay? And in those new ways of relating, whether those are professional relations or not, it doesn't matter. You can take those ways of relating and springboard them into a profession. You see, you can take those skill sets and use them in this way. You can take them and apply them to the job. You can apply them in that other thing I was talking about, because there's information coming down the line from somebody that you don't know, right? And like I said, it could be a boss of a boss of a boss. There's something coming through, all right? And so I want you to wish upon this star. Make your intentions count, okay? Understand that the energy is here. I do new moon and full moon ceremonies every single month. Okay, so that means, yes, that means every 2 weeks I'm performing a ceremony. It's either a new moon or a full moon. And if there happens to be an eclipse that falls within that, then that's what I'm doing. But it's always about what I am releasing or what I'm bringing in. Okay, the full moon is about release. The new moon is about what I want to bring in. What I do is I create an actual prayer tie. I've had many different teachers from many different walks of life. And what I've done, I've taken what I feel resonated within me and I incorporate them into my own personal private ceremony. It's like, wow, it sounds like you do a little bit of this, you do a little bit of the Native American stuff, but yet you say you touching in with archangels, and you work with the earth elementals. Like, so it's confusing, and I get it. I know it is confusing, and that's me. I'm very complex. This is just who I am. So if you want in on it, just comment your stuff below, which means you want to leave a name, you want to let me know what your wish is, and you say, hey, G, I want in on that ceremony, and then I start a communication with you, and we work it out. You don't have to do anything else. It doesn't cost you anything. This is my way of sharing the universe and what comes through me with the community here. This is my way of demonstrating unity. Let's go and jump into October. The October is a fascinating month because there are 2 full moons in the month of October. We have a full moon at the beginning of the month and a full moon at the end of the month. So remember what I said earlier, full moons are when we release something. So a full moon is when the sun and the moon are exactly opposite from each other. All right, so here's my lighter. So we've got the sun over here and we've got the moon over here. Whenever the sun and the moon have points in which they are exactly opposing each other, you have a full moon, October 1st. And we will have the sun at 9 degrees in the sign of Libra, and we will have the moon at 9 degrees in the sign of Aries. Now, this is important for you because you heard me talk about your Arian energy already, right? In your 3rd house. You have Aries energy in your 3rd house, Aquarius. And remember, this is all about the way you think. Now, this is huge because the planet Mars is in this house and will stay here. So Mars will be in your thoughts, in your head, making you very assertive, making you feeling like nobody can get stuff done as fast as you can. You can communicate faster than everybody. It'll make you impatient. It'll make you frustrated. It'll make you irritated. For some people, they may feel this much stronger than others. This has to do with your personal chart. So again, this is a general reading because I am looking at the planets up in the sky. All right, I don't have your personal chart in front of me. If that's something you want me to do to work with you personally, you comment below. That's a whole different thing altogether, and we'll start a communication about that. But in general, Mars being in your 3rd house and then having a full moon there is big. The good news is that Mars will not be right on top of the full moon. However, the full moon is happening right on top of the transiting Chiron up in the sky. And I have to talk about the transiting Chiron for a little bit. And I'm actually probably going to do a separate video for this so that everybody can understand. Because if we're having a full moon on top of Chiron, we're going to need for people to understand what the hell Chiron is and why does it matter. Chiron is about self, okay? It's all about my wound, my deepest emotional wound. So if we're talking about our deepest emotional wounds, that's pretty intense. That becomes very strong. Our emotional waters automatically get heated up. And this is the case because Chiron in Aries is actually setting up a line of communication with our emotions. It's boiling our emotional waters because Aries is very fiery. It's hot. Remember, Mars is its ruler. The planet Mars, it's like a big fireball in the sky. All right, if you've ever seen a picture of it, it's red. It was built for war. Like when Mars was born, it had a knife in each hand. You can understand how the Aries energy, Chiron in Aries, sends a very uncomfortable square. Right? When I said an uncomfortable line of communication, it sends that to the Cancer energy, and this is all of our emotions, and this is the public. All right? Cancer energy is our mother. It's our nurturing energy. But when we talk about the tangible world, it's the public. And so Chiron in Aries has the moon in Aries right there. They're like at 7, 8, 9 degrees. They're on top of each other. And so we've got the moon in Chiron here, and we've got the sun in Libra over here. Our emotions get fired up. Okay, that means that who we are and our emotions about ourselves, how we feel about our bodies, what's been done with our bodies, what is going on with our bodies, what is going on with your body during a pandemic, right? Like during a pandemic, everybody's a little fearful. Yes, there are some who feel as though they're immune and it's not going to bother them, or if they get sick, they don't care, they're not going to die, they feel, right? I mean, there's a whole bunch of different ways that this energy is expressing. But the bottom line is it's intense, it's emotional, it's intense. So Chiron with the moon on top of it, remember the moon is your emotions as well. So there are multiple things here that are pointing to the moon and emotions. Things about mom, things about nurturing, things about mothering, things about the public, things about humanity. And we get fired up, and being fired up means likely something will occur at this time. But remember, full moon is a release. Remember what I was saying earlier? It's a time to release. So what will happen is typically our emotions will rise about something and we'll be like, okay, wow, I saw the effect of my emotions about that particular thing, how upset I got. And I realized I thought I had healed this wound that I had. I realized it wasn't healed all the way, because that's what happens, right? We realize that the wound, somebody put some salt on it and we realize it's still not healed. And so this is Chiron, a deep emotional wound about yourself. Okay. And when we think about the US, I have to talk about the United States only really quickly here, because in the chart of the United States, this is in their fourth house. Chiron in Aries is placed in the United States chart in their fourth house. So for the United States, if you're living there, right, there is this deep emotional wound about your body. And this is about our appearances, because the sign of Aries is your appearance. It is the first house. It is the rising sign. It's how when somebody looks at you, their first impression of you. And boy, have we been going through this in the United States, and people making judgments upon other people based on their appearance, right? Based on the book, right? The cover of the book. There's a release that's going to come. So I like that part of it. Now, this is in your third house. I'm going to tie this back into you and your life. This is happening, how you think, how you communicate, how you relate. So what will likely occur? Again, the degrees of intensity of this have everything to do with your own personal chart. But in general, if you have a full moon there, it's Chiron's there, the North Node is there. So this will give you some sort of sensitivity, some sort of a wound in which you communicate. It has to do with the way that you communicate about yourself. There can be a way in which you think about yourself, right? A wound that you have about your thoughts about yourself. It could be the thoughts you have about your physical body. It could be the thoughts you have about the way that you communicate. It could be thoughts that you have about maybe something happened to you when you were very young. It could be something that occurred to you from other lifetimes. Now, I know that's kind of going a little deep, and so I will stop. I won't go any further. But understanding that anytime there's a wound, it is not somebody else's job to heal our wound. It is our own work. We have to do our own homework. We have to nurture ourselves. We have to coach ourselves. We are the ones responsible for our own healing. And at a full moon, it's a time of releasing. It's a time to say, you know what? I'm tired of carrying that wound around. I'm ready to release that hurt. I understand that people may say things about me. The bottom line, at the end of the day, it comes down to what I feel and what I believe about me. Because what we hold here, the frequencies we hold here, are our tomorrow. The frequencies we hold here are our tomorrow.